So my name is Tabitha, here to talk about geo-targeting and relevance-based targeting. So it lends itself nicely to what Will was talking about. People like me love data points and insights real time as quickly as we can, because trying to keep up with technology, as we all know, is quite hard. So what I'm here to talk about today is some of the unique approaches AT&T takes from a geo perspective as it relates to development of campaigns, utilizing the in-market streamlined results by way of click-through rates, things like that, to execute and optimize real time, and then deliver a more robust and relevant geo-focused approach. So we're gonna look at a couple different things, but the first one we're gonna focus on nationally, and then we'll look at things from a regional perspective, and then get to the good stuff, the local. So the first thing I want to do is one thing that a lot of questions arise about how can you guys avoid some of these privacy concerns? How are you skating around this? Well, I feel quite confident that the more upfront you are and transparent that you are, people have a firm understanding of what you're trying to achieve. Therefore, to a certain degree, eliminating some of those concerns. But everyone has a unique mobile identifier. It's not one-to-one, although some of the things that you're gonna see here are very unique in the fact that we can establish those linkages between cross devices, as well as your mobile profile, so you'll see this in a moment, to your unique individual profile. Keeping those separate, but creating those digital modes is what we're gonna call them. So we're gonna take a look at the Mo's of the world. Sorry.
Meet Mo. From the time she wakes until she goes to bed each night, Mo lives in a connected world. She's tethered to her smartphone, measures her fitness on her wrist, and feels happier when connected. Always on the go, Mo knows that with the right device in hand, she can more easily get where she's headed. And regardless of where she is or how she's connected, the information she needs is never far. In fact, that information is often received without her needing to ask at all. She gets directions, deals, and knows that her connected life makes her life a whole lot easier and more enjoyable. Which is really what life is all about, after all. So Mo rests easy knowing her connected world is never far.
Okay, so that gives you the way that we define some of the consumers and how we identify, again, who we're gonna target, where we're gonna target. So again, leading back into the geo components, and Hacker Group is our agency that put the video together for us, but has really been instrumental in leading us at the forefront of some of these spaces and the technologies that we're leveraging to identify the Mo's and making sure that we're delivering relevant campaigns to optimize our return. So what we're gonna look at again today is three categories, national. So from my perspective, on behalf of AT&T, I focus on nationally based campaigns, but as a subset to that, we have objectives and goals relevant to regions, and of course, by way of the regions, we have local market opportunities. And again, as most people probably are encountering to some degree, budget cuts are imminent, so you have to go where people are gonna buy, and you have to spend in areas that are gonna optimize your return. So we're gonna take a look at some of these examples. Again, I'll highlight some of the main topics, but you're gonna see the animation within each of the categories to showcase some of the campaigns that we've put out in market. So again, national campaigns, we approach these things in a number of different ways, but very, very obvious. You can target by carrier, those type of things. But from a national perspective, what is interesting is the way that we build out the reporting. So again, gleaning insights real time, being able to optimize real time, and leverage things that we know are gonna give us the return on our investment. So historically, we've not really been able to focus on offers, but by way of these animated campaigns, we're able to really optimize and utilize the real estate appropriately, so you're not inundated with legal. The other thing is the value add. So making sure that we're really doing the math for people, making it very simplistic and they understand what the offer is versus trying to confuse them. So again, these are just some of the examples. As most of you, I'm sure, are aware, T-Mobile and some of the competitive carriers have had lots to talk about with one another. So we again, in addressing some of those things, we just want to be transparent. So we're trying to really break down what the value add is and find the appropriate people to fit the mold. So in this next section, we're going to talk about some of these regional campaigns. Again, a lot of times what teams will do, and thanks to the Northeast region for inviting us here today, but again, they have heavy up opportunity and incremental initiatives specific to their goals. So I focus on multi-channel, whereas the regions, they have their regions to look out for from a local market level as well as regional perspective, all of which roll into the national company initiatives. But again, from a regional perspective, they can get very tailored. They can, directly call out certain stores or locations to drive traffic into the stores perhaps that have the most opportunity. They can target unique audiences within each of their markets. So what is going to be available in Northeast region, that mobile profile may look different to someone that is in the Central region, for example. So again, just testing, optimizing, identification, and then finding where those people reside, creating profiles around them, and then going to market with a unique and strategic approach to these geo-focused efforts. And the bulk of the context here is about these local market initiatives. So again, one of the things that we did here is a very unique to AT&T, especially campaign, very not typical to our brand look and feel. But this was a campaign that was launched in support of one of the new rate plans or offers that we had in market at that particular point in time. But it was launched and it was executed for one day, 24-hour period. Featured this surf, or not surf and turf, sorry, maybe I'm hungry. But the turf look and feel relevant to the football audience. As you know, you had the state of Washington and Colorado, so those were two states we felt, well, okay, they're probably going to be watching football. But the biggest one is we decided to do a geofencing opportunity with a 50-mile radius around the Super Bowl stadium specific to Verizon customers. So I know it went kind of fast here, but we did specifically call out at that point in time our rate plan was $100 less than the equivalent to what Verizon was offering. And that stadium is also sponsored or co-sponsored by Verizon. So being that, again, not everyone gets to go to the Super Bowl, we've said, okay, well, people in those two states are likely going to be watching in support of. And then there was a broader buy that went in complement to that. But again, it was quite interesting, and this was one of the first times that we were able to report back to our leadership real time what the results were looking at, especially from a click-through rate standpoint. This next one, maybe. Again, just in talking through some of these other opportunities, unique platforms, kind of these niche opportunities at targeting. So there's a lot of different kind of right on top or third-party vendors that we can engage to identify where people are going to be at. Based on whether they're doing some type of search from their mobile device, or if I have my internet enabled and I'm talking on it and I walk from store A to store B. There's interesting ways to watch and monitor what people are doing as it relates to their pre and post sales that you can glean insights from and then develop campaigns for future executions. And a lot of what we do as well, it's interesting from a local perspective. Again, sometimes people want to go in, have that face-to-face interaction with people, but the call to action is universal. You can drive to a click, a call, or directly into the store locator page, which ironically enough, typically from a directed sales standpoint, yielded a significant amount of overall sales versus some of the other more measurable and directly trackable means. This one, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the In Places platform, but ultimately it serves as, it's very similar to Foursquare and some of the other check-in platforms that we've got. But what it does is you log into, let's say, the Weather Channel, for example. This app kind of sits on top of that. They have very, very robust and unique ways in which we can serve our ad placement. So you're going to see in a couple of slides, there's a reason why I walked over around here and wanted to check in. But you ultimately, it's a reward system. So we can reward you for engaging, which at the end at the end of the day, I'm responsible for sales, but you got to get the initial engagement first. But the platform, again, it serves as a rewards opportunity for checking in. We can serve relevant offers to that specific location, to that specific region or local market area. You can develop and truly optimize your offers in which you're supporting to be unique to those that are going to be around that particular area at that point in time. And this just gives a list of how, through this experience, what would happen. And then you get your confirmation at the end. Another opportunity is these QR codes. So QR codes, they're still out there, they're still alive, but they're unique in the fact that it's a way to integrate traditional direct mail tactics with bridging them into the mobile spheres. So we launched a campaign within one of the regions, and ultimately what they were trying to do is utilize 2 stores that were opportunistic stores that were underperforming at that particular point in time. And so what we were trying to see if we could move the needle and get people to engage, one, with the QR code, and then take advantage of the offers. And what's nice about these platforms in the mobile space is you can sit there and watch where people are scanning. You can watch then from that experience, do they go into the store, do they not? So that's another great example. This one I was excited about, so hopefully you saw your hashtag increase over the last couple of days. But we did a radius buy around this conference location. So it started on Friday. It will complete, I believe, today. But nonetheless, just again, showcasing that you can get creative and unique and take chances to see if you can stimulate added interest, added clicks, added hashtags. And, you know, well, this just shows like the radius, but and there's that. Sorry, let's go back here. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's about driving change. So what we do is take traditional mail tactics and layer in what to be known to be best practices, pull them forward into the mobile space, test, optimize, learn, glean insights, and then you launch larger, broader scaled campaigns based on overall performance. But again, just taking the fact that there's a common interest here, and everyone's in the same location, so why not select areas that are relevant to that and monitor the activity that occurs. There's also in-building network is going to become a very, very common theme, and it's something that you guys here locally are actually one of the very first to engage in. So again, trying to identify and establish one by way of targeting these really zeroed in granular buys relevant to a specific location or an address. You can layer in new technologies to see if you can move the needle on overall perception of a company. So we call it NPS score, but ultimately at the end of the day, if people are happy with us or not, sometimes we can't dictate how a network's going to always deliver. And so these in-building opportunities are going to be a unique opportunity for us to look again at really geofencing and finding those radius-based opportunities, and then seeing if we drive overall performance. And then the and more part. So again, in thinking about the mobile identities that we have, and just thinking through as digital continues to advance, so must we. So there's cross-device connected households. So taking a list, for example, that you found or that you leverage from a third party, taking that list and being able to identify households that have connected devices by way of their Wi-Fi. It could be related to various search criteria, things like that. And delivering a cohesive message. So we don't want to inundate people, but at the same time, we want to get our message across and being able to identify if they were stimulated the first time or if we need to hit them again. So going towards a more household integrated approach. Then, of course, social chatter, which Will mentioned earlier, those are quite common, but it's all about the reporting on the back end, and then optimizing and tailoring your message and your audience and your spend based on those initial findings. Again, a major event and sponsorships. Another opportunity that is currently in the works is doing the geofencing around the Boston Marathon course. Just again, relevancy matters. People want value. People want to know what's in it for them and why. And you have to make sure that you also identify and know when that appropriate time is. So those are some of the key things. And then, geo-conquesting. I'm walking around, browsing my phone. I'm hashtagging all the events that are going on. Those are circular type habits that people can glean insights from, and then we can formulate, whether it be by way of, again, third-party information or our own customer information to deliver what it is that feels to be the most appropriate next step from a purchasing perspective. And then the last one is diversion. So again, I mentioned this earlier, but if you want to focus on a competitor, or if there's Walmart over there that's selling a competitive type product, and you want to divert them. So if they go in their browser, I go into Walmart, I get served a banner placement that intrigues me and drives me to my final destination. You can actually see the mobile, your Mo, if you will, profile go from point A into point B, and you can link those two together. So those are some of the newer technologies that we're exploring and that we've been testing. So we're always trying to stay at the forefront of the technologies and making sure that we're doing our due diligence to be mindful of customer privacy and those privacy concerns. But it's all about relevancy and value, and that's kind of how we've come here today. And again, being that regions have those very localized goals associated to those stores, we're able to really help facilitate and streamline and optimize the overall performance to get them the most bang for their buck. And that's all.
Thank you, Tabitha. Thank you. Questions? Hold Tabitha, just for questions. Hold on one second.
Oh, sure.
I know I have one question, Tabitha. You went through a lot of examples. What was the most impactful in terms of return on customer revenue, and any lesson from that you think people should take, and what would be the first step if they wanted to do something here?
Well, I would say it depends on how you piece apart the performance information to say which one performed best. Because we look at things, again, from an all-channel perspective. So I will say the ones with the offers that you saw up front from the national perspective, and then localizing those to down to the regional perspective. Thinking outside of just mobile profiles alone, we can identify carriers, but if there's a unique objective that you're trying to serve for or meet by way of the goals. So, whatever those objectives might be, we always try to develop our campaigns based on expectation and what are you trying to do at the end of the day? Do you want to sell a Samsung phone? Do you don't really care, you just want people into a store. So you develop based on objective and then build those out, and that's going to get you the highest return for your spend.
Hi, Tabitha. Joe Cottolese from AWeber. So I have a question. Maybe I missed this at the beginning, but what is the delivery mechanism for the ads that you're targeting? Are they in-browser ads on a mobile device, or are they in-app ads served up through, Apple's iAds platform? And what are the limitations that you see in the mobile platform today that prevent you to do the type of geo-targeting that you really want to do?
Well, so that's a great question, and we do try to steer clear of desktop. We try to focus solely on connected devices or mobile subscribers, whether it be tablet, your smartphones, and even gaming consoles. We've got opportunities there, but I think one of the only challenges thus far that we've faced is sometimes between the manufacturers and operating systems, they're not always apples to apples for the opportunity. And so that's where the in-app sometimes can fill those voids. But we try to, again, look at things from a broader perspective. And so developing the campaigns knowing, and again, setting the expectations that we may not be able to serve as many ads to an iPhone as we can an Android, because maybe the Android platform enables push type behavior or activity, whereas Apple prohibits that. So I think as long as the context is and expectations are set that you're not going to be able to measure directly apples to apples. I got 500 ads here and 500 ads here between device type. That pretty much helps. And then I think it's the overall flow, the buy flow opportunities too. So and it's really about the user's customization. But outside of that, we've not really encountered a significant amount of issue. I think Apple's just been the biggest challenge because they have kept that kind of wall up to protect their subscriber base.
Is there a concern from you guys that privacy regulations would prohibit the sustainability of strategies like this over time?
There is, and that's why it's really important that we focus on integrated approaches. So where can we find traditional tactics that do deliver sales over a period of time, and looking at certain measurements over a particular subset of individuals, so that you can see, is the activity that's being driven organic, or is it actually stimulated by what we're doing? So these list opportunities where we can uniquely match what person I touched to a sale, keep us at that forefront and have minimized some of this. But actually, the dynamic and changes is quite interesting. People want to make and glean insights earlier and test the optimization thereof. But again, for the most part, we try to find that medium spend so that we're not over investing and then causing us a degradation on a sales perspective. But there has been a significant shift, and I think over time it'll help us better speak to that and identify if these are working or not. But I think that's the importance of list-driven components, being able to link everything together to keep that measurability and scale up for profit.
Cool. Thank you so much. Let's thank Tabitha.
Thank you.